Good afternoon, people. Just barely in the afternoon. We are just in the afternoon now. It's good to see you guys. Oh my goodness. I never really I consciously miss you guys, and then but it's never I never realize how much I miss you guys until the next time I go live. So that's how you always know. Clever. Come on, dude. You grew out of that shit, dude. We were down here last time and you didn't even go near the Christmas tree, homie. Dude, I already please tell me that I didn't cut your balls off for nothing. You know what I mean? I still feel bad about that. And guys, it's been a year. If you guys remember, we had just become friends, you and I, and it's been a year. About I remember it being about 2 weeks before Christmas, maybe. I don't remember the exact date. I'm not that sentimental. I mean, I am. I think I'm just lazy. I'm terrible. I don't remember birthdays or anything like that. I'm fucking terrible about that bullshit. But but yeah, it was about this time that I last year, maybe even to the day, who knows, man. But around this time last year, I was walking down the street and there was this little puppy. It's always out there, right, dude? And he would always run up to me and I would be like, man, I wish I could take you home. I wish I could take you home. And there was more to that story. I just don't want to get all into that. But I love you too, buddy. Say hi to everybody. And then I saw you, dude. Yeah, and then I saw your crackhead original mom. But I don't really, in all fairness, I don't really know. I mean, it's I know, but I've never seen them or anything. So but they were gonna take him to the shelter because they were mad that Clubber had destroyed the children's Christmas presents because they were left on the porch. And so it was Clubber's fault, apparently, according to them. And it was and so she was like, yeah, my husband's done with him, but he's gonna take him to the shelter tomorrow. I mean, we just can't do it anymore. And I was like, all right, well, I was like, give me a day or two. Let me see what I can work out, because it was a big decision, and then I was on the way to the gym, actually, and then I went and I worked out, and then I came back and he was just out there, day after day out there, right by the main road. If you guys were up late last night and caught my Instagram, there's only about 10 of you that were there, but caught my Instagram live. I decided to go live on my way home from the gym, and you can't tell it's a busy road, except because it's not, except for in the daytime. But their house was right on it, and he was out there with no leash, no collar even, and everything in the universe was telling me to take this dog home. So I did. And I've seen the people since, because I knocked on the door and whatever. I was like, yeah, I'm taking the dog home. But they didn't answer the door. And so I've seen them many times since. And the lady always asks about him and everything. She was basically trying to get me to take him home. So I do too, Microdots. I absolutely believe 150% that this dog, literally the coolest dog that I've ever known, is now my dog. Always was. It's really awesome because he's by my side and cuddles with me, and my life has been I have been significantly happier since this dog came into my life. And Drago now just adds a whole other dynamic to it, which is just really cool. Like in still, even in the clever sense, obviously for the obvious reasons why I love getting Drago and why I love having him, but also it brought out this whole nother side of Clubber that I may have never seen if I didn't get another animal for him to interact with. And the two of them are, I mean, if you follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, I mean, you just see, like, I don't pose them for these pictures. I want you guys to know this. This is very, very, this is a fact. I never, ever, ever once have posed these animals in the positions that they're in. This is how they sleep. When you see them, when Drago sat on my shoulder, like I was under the covers, it was really cold, and Drago sat on my shoulder, and we took those pictures. I was like, oh, I gotta get the my phone and take pictures. I didn't put him up there. He just, yeah. So these animals are like, the thing that the three of us got is just the dopest thing that I've ever had with any living beings ever. It's just amazing. Just yeah, it's great. And thank you. I'm glad you guys like the tree. I just got whatever and threw shit together. I just wanted to do something nice for the Christmas, you know, for the creaming. I want to do something nice for the creaming. I get to do that, by the way. I'm allowed.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat.
How dare you?
Clubber. Get him, Clubber. Oh, thank you, Lala. Love you, big. Love a big mush. Me too. I love a big mush too. Thank you. And Mike B from the 413. Fate is a strange and amazing thing. I want this super chat to fund co-host chairs for Clubber and Drago. They are part of the greatness and display. You know what? You're right. I think I'm gonna have to once tis when the season is over. I will look into that, because it's one of those things that I always think about doing and I never do. And I'm trying to like be better about that. But I gotta say, man, it's so crazy. Like, I've been in a really, really funky mood for like a week. Like I can't go live when I'm like that. I just can't, unless it's something that's really important to talk about, and but I can't go live when I'm feeling like really bummed out like that. And I go through that. It's just is what it is. And then I get over it, and so yesterday was fantastic. I was talking about this on Instagram last night, and yesterday was just fantastic because I got to the gym, and make no mistake, we're gonna go over some stuff here. I didn't, hashtag Turtle Boy and Karen Reed and John O'Keefe just to fucking sit up here and talk shit. We're gonna go over a bunch of stuff. So we'll actually get comfortable, because we might be here for a while. What's up, baby boy? What's up? Hi. He's been extra affectionate lately too. It's really weird. But like, I mean, he's always really affectionate, but he's like extra affectionate lately. Love you, buddy. Love you so much. You're such a good boy. Yes, you are. But you can't have any of this. This is my coffee. You can't have any of this. Good boy. So like, I get to the gym and I wasn't even gonna go. And I get there and it's packed. And immediately I'm kind of like, whatever. But I go into the bathroom and do what I do, change and 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 I'm like, fuck it, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, when you walk 2 miles to do that, like you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, whatever. But it was cool because I was able to still use the 2 things that I wanted to utilize as well as the ropes. So it was really cool. It was like the gym was packed, but nobody was in my way. And it was a really cool thing because, and I posted this on Twitter, it's a really cool thing because like I realized that like it's not a packed gym that gets on my nerves. It's a packed gym full of unmotivated people that gets me anxious. Like if you're not in my mindset, that's what fucks me up. And I never realized that. I didn't realize that until last night when I saw that by chance everyone was in that mindset. Everyone was in the same mindset. Everyone was fucking doing their own thing. And it was great. It was like really cool. It was like nobody gave a fuck about what anybody else was doing or paid attention to what anybody else was doing, but you could feel everybody's energy of motivation by example. It was really, it was a really cool synergy type thing. And I really like, and I make it a point to try to like catch these things so that I can be grateful for them, and so in doing that, then I had this revelation because I've always been very candid about struggling with anxiety and depression. And I've always known like depression is always there, like it's always there. It's just a matter of managing it. And it never occurred to me that the anxiety is the same thing. I just thought the anxiety was something that I experienced when the depression kind of takes over, But thank you, Just Irish. Did he what? Just knock the tree over this year? No, not yet. I thought you were saying he just did. I was like, yeah, I didn't notice. Made me look. But well, see, I don't fuck with Xanax, man. That's the whole thing. Is my whole thing is like I refuse to be dependent, That's what this whole Glera thing is. It's for me, it's a guideline for me to just try to make decisions better. That's it. That's all it is. To not to it's tools to manage my life around depression and anxiety so that there's no excuse for it. Like depression and anxiety is not an excuse to be shitty, feel entitled, feel sorry for yourself. It is not. And I stand by that. I don't give a fuck who you are. Be offended if you want. Fuck yourself. I don't have patience for people who feel sorry for themselves. And or at least don't catch themselves doing it. Like everyone does it to some degree, but people who don't, and they're just fixated on the idea of blaming everyone else for their shit. I have no patience for that shit. So I realizing this and like the fact that I never put it together before, that I'm always as far back as I remember, and I was deep into my workout, and I was really deep, like thinking and hearing my music, and I was like, I thought like, man, as far back as I can remember, I like in every situation that I can think of, there was some level of anxiety. I realized that I was always in a constant state of anxiety, all as far back into my childhood as I can think. Cynthia, thank you so much. I like your attitude too. I like everybody's attitude in here. Everybody's fucking great. I'm really grateful for this audience. So I realized that shit. And so now I'm like super excited. Like that shit put me in an amazing mood. And like it motivated me to like work out like really push myself yesterday. And I weighed myself too before my workout, and that helped motivate me because I've been trying to burn fat. And when I remember when I first went back into the gym, this fucking guy. That's an example right there of my anxiety from long ago. But I love him very much. So I was I started thinking, I was like, wow, yeah, I've always been in a state of anxiety as in every situation that I can think of. So I've been in a constant state of anxiety my entire life. Like I'm anxious right now. I just unconsciously found ways to like mask it or deal with it without knowing. That's probably where all the humor comes from, you know. It's most likely what it is. Robin G gifted 5 memberships. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's and when these things happen, I got to be honest. When these things happen, oh my God, Joseph Kane gifted 5 memberships as well. Wait, I lost it. Wait, what? Hold on. What? Well, right, microdots. I feel that. I feel that, but like that's part of it. But yeah, I mean, I would not be self-aware if I did not take accountability for the fact that I use humor to mask. I've used humor to mask insecurities my entire life. And I'm not saying it's a fault, it's a flaw. It's a blessing that comes with these things. So in a sense, I've been managing my anxiety my whole life, but being aware of it is it seems in theory to open up a whole new level of possibilities, and I'm really excited about it. I'm like super fucking excited about it. So I'm in a really good mood today. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm in a really good mood today because of shit like this. Things like this really put me in a good mood. So I've kind of been disconnecting and reconnecting here and there as far as what's been going on with the case. Fishing Kid, thank you so much. Let's go. Right when I tuned in, the glare said, "Go fuck yourself, man. This dude is lit. Keep up the good work." I have never been. Listen, for everyone who's ever hated on me, okay, I want you to listen to me very closely right now. For anyone who's ever hated on me on any level, in any way, shape, or form, I want you to take note of this moment. Someone just congratulated me for saying "go fuck yourself" with money. Okay? Yeah, that just happened. So, yes. Give yourselves, yes. I mean, life is abundant with blessings. Amazing. Fucking only in America. And it's a wonder why I'm sitting up here yelling and screaming for free speech and all this shit. Like, it's a wonder. Are you kidding? So now I'm gonna read. Now we know that Hank Brennan, the legal equivalent, in my opinion, the legal equivalent of a hired mob goon, just, you know, as far as the law goes. I mean, he's a fucking hired mob goon. That's what he is. He's a fucking goon. Like, let's just be honest here. And I'm not saying like goon, like, he's ugly and he's stupid and blah, blah, blah. I don't mean it like that. I mean, he's a fucking goon, dude. Like, this is a guy who was hired as a special prosecutor by the allegedly corrupt Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey, who is under federal investigation spearheaded by Josh Levy of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Massachusetts. Now, and yeah, he's a dork, but he's a hired goon. Nothing else. That is what this boils down to. Because when you look at everything, people, when you look at the facts of this case should have never went to trial in the first place. We watched Judge Bev do, and this is why I love what happened with Rich Schiffer just Monday. What I love about what happened with Rich Schiffer was the fact that we saw the contrast of a judge who was like, okay, I see what's going on here. Because when you see a judge do the things that Beverly Cannoni does, it gaslights you. It makes you question yourself. Someone in that high of a position, publicly in front of the world, making incredibly biased decisions in favor of the Commonwealth, who has absolutely no case against Karen Read. It's fascinating.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
How dare you?
Buttercup, thank you so much. Wow. Wow, thank you. Boston girls love the glare. Thank you for all you do and for all the laughs. Merry Christmas. Right on, man. Thank you. That means the world to me, man. That is really nice. That is really, really nice. Wow. So this Brennan dude has already gone. He's filed these motions. They're in pretrial. Now, both the defense and the prosecution wanted the case to be moved up to April 1st, April Fool's Day. Ironic as it is, but it is what it is. That's happening. And I feel like this is hold on, sorry. Just Joe, thank you so much. Mystery solved. Hank took case to get back at FBI. How's he getting back at the FBI? He's just putting them in the fucking investigation, putting himself in the investigation. He's throwing himself in the mix. What do you mean? Get back at the FBI. How's he going to do that? But thank you so much. But yeah, I don't see that. I don't see Hank Brennan pulling that off, you know? Yeah, he so far, okay, so now it's moved up to April 1st, but so far this guy's filed motions to try to get into Bill Reed's phones. And Eliza Little just flat out explained in full detail exactly why that's an absurd fucking motion. And it was great. It was beautiful. It's fantastic to get to sit there and listen to that. Now, the most recent one that he files that Dr. Marie Russell, the dog bite expert, who testified in the first sham, Brendan's trying to say that she's not qualified. Now, I never did go over that filing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the defense's response. I think Melanie Little went over it yesterday, but I have not read it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. And thank you, Cherry, for getting that for me. I appreciate it. As always, Cherry is amazing. Dude, Cherry's been with this channel for so fucking long. Like, she is equally my biggest pain in the ass and my angel on my shoulder. Like, both equally at the same time. Oh, shit. Mazza Media knows what's up. Mazza Media knows what's up. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and try to read this. Defendant's opposition to the Commonwealth's motion to exclude the testimony of Dr. Marie Russell and request for Daubert Lanigan hearing. Now, this is interesting because, like, dude, we heard her testify, man. Now, I'm not going to do everything. I know Turtle Boy went over a lot of her testimony. I'm not going to go over her testimony because we got a lot to go over tonight, guys. It's a few topics that I want to talk about. Yeah, man, make sure to subscribe to Mazza Media if you're not subscribed to him already. That dude is fantastic. Of course, make sure to subscribe to Microdots as well. And Mazza, I'm gonna have to get with you on something soon. I got an idea brewing around, and I really want to pull it off. I've already told Microdots about it, and one or two other people. And so, in theory, I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to expect a DM from me at some point, Mazza. Yeah. Microdots knows what's up. Microdots knows what's up. So now, yeah, I'm not going to go into her testimony, but now we did hear it, and I'm of the opinion that she could have testified better. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the greatest testimony in the world, you know, but the thing was her resume was incredibly impressive. Now, I love how, like, I said that on Twitter and some asshole was like, oh, yeah, listen to the guy with the GED talking about how impressive someone's resume is. Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, I could still be impressed by a person who just decides fucking, okay, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole in this subject and I'm going to get a doctorate in it so that there's like nothing else that I can, you know, miss. And then, oh shit, look, in order to understand it better, I have to understand this. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and get a doctorate in that. I'm going to go get a PhD in that. And then she just does this. It's insane. It was the most impressive thing that I've ever seen. But I wish her testimony could have been a little better. I don't think that she impressed the jury very much. But I think that this time around, she could really bring it home. Because she's clearly qualified. There's no question whether or not she's qualified. Hank Brennan is pulling things out of his ass. Clever. Go lay down, please. Thank you, buddy. Hank Brennan's pulling stuff out of his ass. Clever. What did I just say, buddy? Please? Go lay down. Don't what? Pull it down, dude. Yeah, Hank Brennan is just pulling stuff out of his ass. I mean, he's been doing that. This is no different. The Bill Reed phone thing, this is no different than that. This is this dude grasping at straws. He's going to do, and he's lawyering. Bottom line is what he's doing is he's lawyering. This is what lawyers do. They file motions. They do whatever the fuck they can. What makes this weird is all we're seeing is what we knew in theory was what the hell could they possibly do in a second trial? What could they possibly do at this point? And now we're seeing it like come to fruition. Let me thank you so much, Sebastian Anon. I was thinking about it yesterday after Brian Albert got name dropped by a PDF file, but there's a theory. Do the Alberts have ties to the mob? Would explain why Hank is on the case in the odd way Chris Albert runs his restaurant. I mean, that's all speculative. I have no evidence to that. You know, I don't know. I mean, one could say if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, you know, I definitely think there's something dirty going on there, but that's just my opinion based on what I'm seeing, and I have no evidence of it. Now, it would be naive to think that D.A. Morrissey doesn't have mob ties, in my opinion. I think it would be absolutely naive to think that. I also think it would be naive to think that has nothing to do that him hiring Hank Brennan, Whitey Bulger's defense attorney, to prosecute an unwinnable case. I think that kind of screams that he has mob ties. I'm sorry. It just screams out to me that. Again, I don't have evidence of that except for the fact that he's under federal investigation, the fact that he is the district attorney behind the biggest fucked cases in that county, and the same investigators that work in his office for him, under him, as his foot soldiers, as his stormtroopers, have been directly involved in each of these cases. That's not a coincidence to me. I just don't believe in coincidence. So, this is just Hank Brennan now doing that part. Something stinks about the fact that obviously something already stinks about the fact that they're retrying this case, considering the double jeopardy factor that's taken place here with the whole jury thing, which I'm not going to get into. We're all very much aware of it. But the fact that this is going to a second trial and he didn't have anybody in his own office, Michael Morrissey, Norfolk County District Attorney, did not have anyone in his office to try this case. And see, the thing is I refuse, dude. I fucking refuse to let anybody tell me, oh, well, that's not. When you look at everything else in the grand scheme of things, that's dirty as fuck. That stinks of shit. It stinks. That Whitey Bulger's attorney is prosecuting a case that should have never went to trial in the first place, much less go to another trial. And from what I understand, Michael Proctor is not even going to be called by the prosecution to testify. You don't think the defense is going to call him up? Dude, this is going to be a slam dunk for the defense. In theory, this is going to be a slam dunk. When you look at what Hank Brennan's strategy, he's telling the world what his strategy is here. And it's basically throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it sticks. Every motion that he's filed up until this point has been that. All right, let me get into reading this. Now comes the defendant, Karen Reed, Miss Reed, and respectfully requests that this honorable court deny the Commonwealth's motion to exclude the expert testimony of Dr. Marie Russell, deny the Commonwealth's request for an evidentiary hearing under the standards set forth in Daubert versus Merrill Dow Farms Incorporated. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, listen, I'm not Melanie Little, so I'm just gonna go blah 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 through the through the law sightings and case sightings, and cancel the hearing scheduled for December 12th, 2024, to the extent that it is intended as an evidentiary hearing under Daubert Lanigan, because the Commonwealth has not made the threshold showing that an evidentiary hearing, evidentiary, sorry, there's a thing here. Okay. An evidentiary hearing is required, and the opposition further establishes that no evidentiary hearing is warranted. The Commonwealth's motion is an improper and untimely motion for reconsideration of the court's determination during Ms. Reed's first trial that Dr. Russell is qualified to offer expert testimony concerning the nature and cause of Mr. O'Keefe's right arm injuries. This determination we made after a full voir dire hearing during which the Commonwealth cross-examined Dr. Russell concerning her qualifications and the methodology underlining her expert opinion. The Commonwealth offers no new information in this motion, which it waited to file for over 4 months after the court set a date for a new trial. The motion should be denied on that basis alone. The Commonwealth's renewed challenge of Dr. Russell's qualifications and methodology is also without merit. Dr. Russell is eminently qualified to offer testimony concerning the nature of the cause of Mr. O'Keefe's right arm injuries, which emblematic of the weakness of its motion. My dyslexia got the best of me right there, man. That was crazy. Which emblematic of the weakness of the motion, the Commonwealth now tries to downplay as minor and isolated to one area of his forearm. A review of the photographs of his arm quickly debunks the false assertion. Dr. Russell has decades of experience as a board-certified emergency medicine physician treating patients with all manner of injuries, including hundreds of patients with wounds inflicted by dogs. And she is fellow trained forensic pathologist with decades of experience in the field as well. She has published and edited several peer-reviewed publications concerning the diagnosis, treatment, and identification of dog-induced human wounds, and has been qualified as an expert in numerous federal and state cases in emergency medicine, forensic pathology, and wounds. The pattern recognition and differential diagnosis methodology that Dr. Russell employs to determine the nature and cause of Mr. O'Keefe's wounds also is reliable. Emergency medicine physicians comprise the relevant medical community for dog-induced human wound in identification and evaluation. As a matter of common sense, such physicians are trained to recognize patterns in injuries and ailments to properly diagnose and treat them. Their reliance on experience to recognize injury patterns is inherently reliable and is well supported in the law. Further, the use of pattern recognition to identify such wounds is generally accepted in the medical community. Dog bites and scratches possess certain characteristics, and dogs look for to diagnose the cause of a wound and determine the proper treatment. Dr. Russell employed this pattern recognition in opining that Mr. O'Keefe's arm injuries likely were caused by a large dog. The Commonwealth has presented no competent evidence to call into question Dr. Russell's qualifications or the methodology that Dr. Russell employed in forming her opinions. I love it. This is beautifully written. The Commonwealth has not presented an affidavit for an expert of its own to identify what the Commonwealth believes to be the proper methodology to employ in identifying the cause of Mr. O'Keefe's right arm wounds. It instead relies solely on ipse dixit assertions, I guess that's Latin, in an attorney affidavit, memorandum of law, and the record developed during Miss Reed's first trial. Given this record, the Commonwealth has not made the threshold showing that an evidentiary hearing is required. Its motion is insufficient in its face. The Commonwealth's motion should be denied in its entirety. I love this shit. This is fucking fantastic. Dr. Russell is a board-certified emergency medicine physician who has been treating patients in the emergency room for 3 decades. See affidavit of Hank Brennan dated December 1st, 2024. Blah, 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 blah. Dr. Russell has treated over 500 patients presenting in the ER with dog bites and scratches among thousands of patients that she has treated for all manner of injuries. Blah, 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 blah. Dr. Russell also has co-authored 2 peer-reviewed articles concerning the nature and treatment of dog-induced human wounds inflicted by law enforcement, canines. While a fellow in the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, Dr. Russell conducted hundreds of autopsies of victims with various injuries, including gunshots and stab wounds, wounds from motor vehicle accidents, and dog-induced wounds. Now, that's very important, folks, right there. That is specifying a very, very important point that it's very easy to overlook. They're saying not only is she qualified on because she's such a dog bite and dog scratch, dog attack expert, not only is she that qualified because this is her specialty, but she also has the best possible frame of reference to compare them to other injuries. She treated other injuries in the emergency room for years, thousands of patients from gunshot, stabs, and motor vehicle accidents, specifically motor vehicle accidents. This is crucial. So the fact that she can say, and all she's got to do is just do a little better job in front of the jury this time around. That's all I'm saying. But she's brilliant. There's no question that this woman is absolutely brilliant. There's no question that this woman is absolutely, I mean, she is an alpha. 100%. This is someone who just completely and totally engulfed all of her time and her entire life into gaining knowledge to treat people in emergency room, in an emergency room. She became an expert on everything that she came across. This is not to even be questioned. The fact that Hank Brennan is questioning this woman's credentials or questioning her qualifications, knowing these credentials, makes him an asshole. I mean, I don't know how else to put that. What kind of an asshole does he take the rest of us for? As whoever wrote this, I'm not sure if it was Yannetti or Jackson, but whoever wrote it, when they say in its face, it's bullshit. In its face. In addition, she is a trained forensic pathologist and is a fellow of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences. She has been qualified as an expert in emergency medicine, forensic pathology, and wounds in numerous cases in federal and state courts. Wow. On June 6, 2024, the Commonwealth moved to exclude Dr. Russell. The Commonwealth specifically contended that the proposed testimony of Dr. Russell may necessitate a Dalbert Lanigan hearing to assess, among other things, Dr. Russell's qualifications and the reliability of her methodology. Wow. Wow. Yellow cottage cheese, thank you. But does the crime scene talk to Dr. Russell? Thank you so much. On June 26, 2024, the Commonwealth moved to exclude Dr. Russell. Commonwealth specifically, okay, yeah, I think I already read that. The court presided over a voir dire examination of Dr. Russell at the beginning of the hearing. The court permitted the Commonwealth to question Dr. Russell broadly about both her qualifications as well as the underlying basis for her anticipated opinion. This is also a very good point as well. In the first trial, Judge Beverly Cannoni herself voir dired Dr. Russell in order to determine whether or not she was qualified and deemed her to be qualified to testify as an expert. She was qualified by Judge Cannoni herself as an expert. So how is this even going to be expected to fly? That I ask you. Think about that for a second. Now, I mean, he can file the motion. It doesn't mean he's going to get it. He's just lawyering. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just lawyering. I keep clicking on the wrong comment, but whatever. He's just lawyering by filing these motions. But exactly how can she grant that motion? How can she possibly grant that motion if she herself voir dired this very expert and determined her to be qualified as an expert to testify in that trial? How could she not do that this time around? Scott McGinnis, member for 13 months. Thanks, buddy. Proof positive that Bev is as dirty as shit. Yes, I agree. But not yet. I mean, do I think she's dirty? Absolutely. But I just don't see how her dirty ass can get away or think that she could get away with that, knowing what we know right now. This point that's being made right here in this defense motion, this defense response to the motion, true crime junkie, the OG. We ain't got no quit. Exactly. Remember for 5 months. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, so I'm not going to jump to the conclusion and say that she's going to grant the motion. I'm saying, how the fuck can she? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, I don't see a realm in this reality, bro, that will where anybody would have the fucking balls to do that. There's no way, dude. I don't give a shit how dirty you are, dude. Like there's no fucking way somebody would be that fucking brazen, even a judge, to be that fucking brazen and bold as to like grant that motion after she herself voir dired the very expert in question and determined that she was a qualified expert. Fuck out of my face with that. I mean, yeah. Oh, she denied it? Yeah, I heard she denied it. I just didn't have confirmation on that yet. I told you I've been out of the loop for the last few days. So, I mean, yeah, that's basically the defense is going in a whole lot of detail as to why, and it's actually pretty simple as to why this should not be, why this should have been denied, this motion. Absolutely. Oh, it's happening tomorrow in the AM. Okay. 50-50. You think there's a 50-50 chance, dude? I don't think that there is dude, no fucking way will there be her granting that motion. Wait, what? Oh, she denied the motion to cancel the Daubert hearing. Okay. I mean, and it's just so stupid. Like, the fact that she would even let that happen is so irresponsible. Clearly not in the interest of justice. Clearly not in the interest of justice. This is fucking crazy. The beginning of the hearing, the court permitted the Commonwealth to question Dr. Russell broadly about both her qualifications as well as the underlying basis for anticipated opinion. And that is precisely what the Commonwealth proceeded to do. On direct examination at the voir dire hearing, Dr. Russell testified about her extensive experience treating and studying dog-induced human wounds. Dr. Russell next testified about her review of relevant materials in the case, including hospital and autopsy photographs, autopsy, neuropathology, and toxicology reports, grand jury testimony, and emergency room records. Based on her review of these voluminous materials and her past experience with dog-induced human wounds, Dr. Russell concluded that the injuries to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm were consistent with a large dog attack. In describing how she reached the conclusion, Dr. Russell emphasized the patterns present in the wounds, including parallel wounds that could have been caused by nails or could have been caused by teeth, and an arch area of teeth marks. On cross-examination, the Commonwealth's entire line of questioning was focused on attempting to attack her qualifications and the reliability of her opinions. After the cross-examination concluded, the court noted that the Commonwealth's motion raised Daubert type concerns and asked whether the Commonwealth was seeking any limitations on the scope of Dr. Russell's testimony. In response, the Commonwealth conceded that the court could permit her to testify as to the injuries that she observed, her work and history in that area, observing prior injuries related to animal attacks and whatever consistency she believes that they have with that. The Commonwealth also admitted that Dr. Russell is certainly a very experienced emergency room physician, so anything in relation to that, I think, is permissible. In concluding the hearing, the court emphasized its role as the gatekeeper as to whether she can actually assist the jury and reserve decision to further consider that question. Emphasis added. On June 10th, 2024, the court issued its ruling on the Commonwealth's motion to exclude Dr. Russell. In permitting Dr. Russell to testify on whether or not the marks on John O'Keefe's arm were the result of an animal attack, the court found that she had specialized knowledge in that field that may assist the jury in this regard. December 10th, 2024. Blah, 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 blah. In short, the court exercised its gatekeeping function as mandated under Daubert-Lanigan in permitting Dr. Russell to testify on the topic of dog-induced human wounds. At trial the next day, the Commonwealth cross-examined Dr. Russell extensively, attempting to challenge her qualifications and the reliability of her opinions. Notably, the Commonwealth did not request that her testimony be stricken or otherwise diminished based on her responses during cross-examination, nor was there a basis to do so. On July 25th, 2024, the court set a date for the start of a new trial. On December 1st, 2024, over 4 months later, the Commonwealth filed the instant motion requesting that the court reconsider its finding that Dr. Russell was qualified to render an opinion in the defendant's first trial, and that the methodology of theory underlying her opinion was reliable. Emphasis added. In support of this of its motion, the Commonwealth offers 5 pages of legal argument accompanied by an attorney affidavit that merely repeats the same arguments in the motion based on nothing more than the record developed during the first trial. The Commonwealth does not present any conflicting expert testimony or literature to suggest that the pattern recognition methodology that Dr. Russell employed is unreliable. The Commonwealth instead resorts to incorrect statements about and distortions of Dr. Russell's professional qualifications and unsupported blah, 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 I don't know what that word is, attorney assertions about the reliability of Dr. Russell's testimony. Dr. Russell has prepared a written report that further elucidates her qualifications, her methodology, and a summary of her opinions. We discussed the report in greater detail below. The court should deny the Commonwealth's request to reconsider its prior under permitting Dr. Russell to testify. The court already found that Dr. Russell is qualified to offer expert testimony on the case of Mr. O'Keefe's arms injuries. As noted, the Commonwealth acknowledges that it is asking the court to reconsider its finding that Dr. Russell is qualified and that her opinions are reliable. This is added. I don't even know what that means. It's probably something completely unrelated, and it makes me giggle. Wholly absent from the Commonwealth's motion, however, is an explanation of the standard that the court should apply in deciding whether to revisit and disturb its prior ruling several months after its entry and based on new evidence or change in the law. That omission is no accident. The proponent of such a motion bears the burden to establish a basis for reconsideration, and the Commonwealth knows that it cannot meet the burden. The Commonwealth instead improperly attempts to shift the burden to Ms. Reed to again prove that Dr. Russell is qualified and that her methodology is reliable. The court should reject that attempt. Where a party moves for reconsideration, the motion may not be a mere rehash of prior arguments and must be made within a reasonable time. Whereas here, a motion to consider has nothing new to offer and introduces the same matters previously presented. The court may deny the motion without a hearing. No need to reconsider ruling at a second trial in the absence of new evidence or a change in the law. Commonwealth versus Richmond, blah, blah, blah. A timely motion for reconsideration generally is one that is filled within 30 days of the action the moving party was once reconsidered. The self-imposed guardrails on a court's discretion to revisit its prior rulings flow from the truism that a court ordinarily ought to respect and follow its own rulings made early in the same case. Elias versus the United States. This fundamental principle protects litigants from the expense and vexation attending a relitigation. The same issues conserves judicial resources and fosters reliance on judicial action by minimizing the possibility of inconsistent decisions. Arizona versus California. Measured against these standards, the Commonwealth's motion is an untimely effort without any proper justification to revisit any issue or to revisit an issue that this court already decided. Preliminary, Jesus, why are my eyes fucking with me right now? Preliminary, the Commonwealth failed to make its motion within a reasonable time. While courts do not inflexibly adhere to the general 30-day period where an interlocutory order is concerned, that's just a word I don't know. I'm just stupid. The motion still must be sought within a reasonable time, and the general 30-day period remains the yardstick in the assessing timelines. Under any measure, the Commonwealth's motion is untimely. The Commonwealth filed this motion over 4 months after the court set a date for a new trial and over 5 months after the court issued its ruling permitting Dr. Russell to testify at trial. The Commonwealth has offered no justification for its delay and there is none. The motion should be denied on untimeliness grounds alone. In addition to being untimely, the Commonwealth's motion fails to present any new evidence or a change in the law that might warrant the court's reconsideration of its prior decision, and it is the burden of the Commonwealth to do that. The motion compromises 5 pages of legal argument that rehash the same issues that the court already decided, and an attorney affidavit that largely repeats the same legal arguments based on new information. The court already fulfilled the gatekeeper role that Daubert Lanigan requires in permitting Dr. Russell to testify. Lanigan, blah, 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 blah. Dr. Russell testified extensively about her decades of experience as a board-certified emergency physician, diagnosing and treating all manner of wounds, including hundreds of dog-induced human wounds. Blah, 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 blah. Contrary to the revisionist history that the Commonwealth presents, Dr. Russell's experience is not from 28 years ago and focused on law enforcement canines. Her experience with dog-induced human injuries spans her entire 30-plus year career as an emergency physician and forensic pathologist, and predominantly concerns wounds caused by civilian dogs, not law enforcement canines. At the basis of Dr. Russell's voir dire testimony, the court was satisfied that as an experienced ER doctor who observed, treated, and studied hundreds of dog-induced human wounds, Dr. Russell has specialized knowledge in the field that may assist the jury in assessing whether the marks on John O'Keefe's arm were the result of an animal attack. Notably, the Commonwealth did not disagree with the conclusion at the time. The Commonwealth should not now be permitted to reverse course, and there is certainly no basis for its request that this court do so. The court correctly found that that Dr. Russell was qualified to testify as the cause of Mr. O'Keefe's arm injuries. Nothing in the Commonwealth's motion supports a contrary conclusion. Dr. Russell also explained the methodology she used in concluding that Mr. O'Keefe's arm injuries were animal-induced. She based her opinions on the several patterns that she observed in the wounds that were consistent with dog-induced human wounds that she has seen hundreds of times in her career. As discussed below, this pattern recognition methodology is widely accepted in the relevant medical community, as recognized in peer-reviewed literature showing that dog-induced human wounds possess specific characteristics that enable them to be identified as such. Unsurprisingly, courts routinely permit medical professionals to testify about the nature or cause of a victim's wounds, including dog-induced wounds. Wow. Allowing medical examiner through not a ballistic specialist to testify about distance from which gunshots had been fired. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. The court correctly found that Dr. Russell is qualified to testify as to the cause of Mr. O'Keefe's arm injuries. As the Commonwealth has offered nothing new to suggest a different conclusion, its motion should be denied without a hearing. Even if this motion was properly presented, Dr. Russell easily meets the requirements of a testifying expert. Excuse me. The Commonwealth's motion should be denied as an untimely and improper. The Commonwealth's motion should be denied as untimely and improper. But even if the court were to consider the Commonwealth's challenge to Dr. Russell anew, excuse me, the result is the same. Dr. Russell is eminently qualified to testify about the cause of Mr. O'Keefe's arm injuries, and the pattern recognition methodology she applied in reaching her conclusion is reliable. On motion to exclude expert testimony, courts consider whether 5 fundamental requirements have been met. 1, the expert testimony will assist the trier of fact because the information is beyond the common knowledge of jurors. 2, that the witness is qualified as an expert in the relevant area of inquiry. 3, the expert's opinion is based on facts or data of a type reasonably relied on by experts to form opinions in the relevant field. And 5, that the theory underlying the opinion is reliable. And the theory is applied to the particular facts of the case in a reliable manner. Now, that's all of those things. Check. Here, the Commonwealth seeks to exclude Dr. Russell only on the grounds that she is purportedly unqualified to render an opinion and that the methodology she employed is unreliable. Dr. Russell's education, training, experience, and familiarity with dog-induced human wounds qualify her as an expert on the topic. And here's where we get into the fun stuff. This is my favorite part, folks. The parties agree that the crucial issue in determining whether a witness is qualified to give an expert opinion is whether the witness has sufficient education, training, experience, and familiarity with the subject matter of the testimony. Dr. Russell overwhelmingly meets these requirements. I love that shit. I couldn't have said that better. Dr. Russell's education, training, and experience qualify her as an expert in identifying wounds and injuries in humans resulting from an animal attack. As demonstrated, Dr. Russell is a board-certified emergency medical doctor with decades of experience. Throughout that period, she saw and treated virtually every type of wound, including hundreds of wounds resulting from dog attacks. Beyond that, she is trained in forensic and anatomic pathology and has conducted over 500 autopsies, including an autopsy of a child who was killed after being attacked by civilian dogs. She also has authored peer-reviewed articles on the diagnosis and treatment of dog bites in the emergency room, including an article that analyzed 700 dog bite cases. And she edited a peer-reviewed emergency medicine publication discussing identification of dog bite wounds. Dr. Russell has precisely the qualifications to opine on whether an injury to the human body was caused by an animal attack. The Commonwealth grossly misrepresents Dr. Russell's experience, asserting that lost of Dr. Russell canine experience was from 28 years ago and focused on law enforcement canines. No part of that statement is true. Dr. Russell's experience with dog-induced human wounds spans her entire 30-plus year career as an emergency medicine physician and predominantly concerns civilian dogs in the community. That Dr. Russell also treated and wrote peer-reviewed articles about law enforcement dog bites only bolsters her experience. She has seen both types of injuries and knows the difference between them. The Commonwealth further attempts to criticize Dr. Russell for being a trained emergency room physician, as opposed to being a professional in the field of canine bites or claw marks, veterinary medical science, forensic odontology, or canine behavior. This assertion is mistaken on several levels. First, emergency medicine physicians with Dr. Russell's experience are best positioned to address the questions at hand. Second, the Commonwealth does not define the field of canine bites or claw marks, or explain how an emergency medicine physician who has treated hundreds of dog-induced human wounds and authored and edited peer-reviewed publications on the subject would not be within it. Third, the Commonwealth does not explain why a veterinarian, forensic odontologist, or a person trained in canine behavior would be more qualified than Dr. Russell to opine on this topic. It is common sense that when people get bit by a dog or other large animal, they go to the emergency room, to the emergency department, to the emergency room. They don't go to a veterinarian. They don't go to a forensic odontologist, and they don't go to a so-called canine behavior person. Fourth, these incorrect arguments improperly invite the court to weigh Dr. Russell's qualifications against those of unspecified individuals with different training. Dr. Russell, therefore, is resoundingly qualified. Indeed, it is hard to imagine a medical doctor other than Dr. Russell more qualified in the area of dog-induced human wounds. Dr. Russell's pattern recognition methodology is reliable. The Commonwealth mischaracterizes the methodology that Dr. Russell employed, forming her opinions in arguing that it is unreliable. The Commonwealth's conclusory and unsupported analysis, I think I read that right, is wrong at every step. Under Daubert Lanigan, the judge acting as a gatekeeper is responsible for making a preliminary assessment whether the theory of methodology underlying the proposed testimony is sufficiently reliable to reach the trier of fact. Excuse me, I keep saying trier of fact. Commonwealth versus Camblin. In making the assessment, the court may consider whether the scientific theory or process has been generally accepted in the relevant scientific community, has been or can be subjected to testing, has been subjected to peer review and publications, has an unacceptably high known or potential rate of error, and is governed by recognized standards. These factors are non-exclusive, and courts recognize the potential need to consider other factors depending on the nature of expert testimony. For instance, a judge may also look at her own common sense as well as the depth and quality of the proffered expert's education, training, experience, and appearance in other courts to determine reliability. Shots fired, Karen Reed's defense. Shots fucking fired. I'm going to read that one more time. A judge, for instance, a judge may also look at her own common sense as well as the depth and quality of the proffered expert's education, training, experience, and appearance in other courts to determine reliability. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a little passive aggressive there, but cute, well placed, and merited. Absolutely merited. Conversely, a court need not consider all 5 factors to permit the expert's testimony. It has long been recognized that reliability. I think I already read that. Yes. First, based purely on common sense and in consideration of Dr. Russell's extensive experience studying, diagnosing, and treating dog-induced wounds, Dr. Russell's use of pattern recognition to determine whether a particular wound was caused by a dog is inherently reliable. Commonwealth's expert to opine on likely cause of fire based on analysis of burn patterns. Common sense dictates that when a person is attacked by a dog and needs medical treatment, it is likely that the person will go to the emergency department to seek immediate treatment. Emergency medicine physicians like Dr. Russell, thus, are the medical professionals most likely to repeatedly observe dog-induced human wounds and identify consistent patterns in the wounds. And Dr. Russell's own experience shows, in addition to her real-world experience diagnosing and treating dog-induced wounds, Dr. Russell has studied these wounds to understand the key features that distinguish them from other types of wounds, such as arch patterns indicative of the front part of the animal's jaw, parallel injuries indicative to claw marks, and puncture wounds indicative of canine teeth penetrating the skin. And she can distinguish many human wounds induced by a canine dog from those inflicted by civilian dogs. Her experience with both is tremendous. Contrary to the Commonwealth's contention, Dr. Russell's experience with the dog-induced wounds is not merely anecdotal. It is medically based, extensive, and specific. Dr. Russell directly applied her extensive training, knowledge, and experience in reviewing Mr. O'Keefe's medical records, autopsy report, and photographs of his arm. The recent decision in Dunham versus Lobello, is instructive. There, the court permitted a physician who has treated many dog bite victims to testify about the nature and treatment of the dog-inflicted wounds of the plaintiff. The defendants argued just as the Commonwealth does here, that his testimony was unreliable because his methodology was based on his experience treating such wounds. The court disagreed, finding that his experience repairing wounds and lacerations caused by dog bites qualified him to testify about such wounds, including their presentation. The court also rejected their defendant's challenge to his methodology, which involved the doctor's view of the presentation of plaintiff's scars and review of permanent medical records on the grounds that defendant's arguments went to weight, not admissibility. The same result follows here. The pattern recognition methodology that Dr. Russell used in studying Mr. O'Keefe's arm injuries is reliable as a matter of common sense. Commonwealth's attempted challenges to the methodology all go to the weight, not admissibility. Second, Dr. Russell's pattern recognition methodology is generally accepted in the medical community and therefore is reliable on that basis alone. As the literature cited in Dr. Russell's expert report shows, dog-induced injuries possess key features that make them identifiable. I almost said unidentifiable. That make them identifiable to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Certain dog-induced wounds, like the ones Mr. O'Keefe sustained, are so distinctive or characteristic that they are specific to a given source. Tissue defects and puncture wounds presenting as round holes displayed in an arch, particularly when accompanied by claw marks, recognizable by superficial linear abrasions arranged parallel to each other, are highly characteristic of wounds induced by dogs. Given that the pattern recognition methodology has been recognized and accepted for a substantial number of years, it meets the standard for general acceptance and is reliable solely on that basis. In fact, the medical examiner for the Commonwealth herself applied a pattern recognition methodology in concluding that Mr. O'Keefe's arm injuries had some sort of pattern into it and described them as pattern abrasions. Event testifying that they could have been caused by an animal claw. That's right. She did say that. Finally, though the court need not reach the other Daubert-Lanigan factors to find Dr. Russell's pattern recognition methodology reliable, those factors also favor a finding of reliability. The methodology has been subject to peer review and publication, as the literature shows that dog-induced human wounds have unique characteristics that enable their identification through pattern recognition. For that same reason, this pattern recognition methodology is governed by recognized standards, the unique feature of canine dentition result in unique patterns in dog-induced human wounds. The methodology also does not have an unacceptably high known or potential rate of error. Any potential error rate is low, given the distinct pattern left by the dog-induced human wounds, and the Commonwealth presents no contrary evidence. See, that's interesting right there. That's interesting. That it has this low rate of error. So her methodology is why it's reliable. This is why it's considered reliable, because it has such a low rate of error, and they're pointing this out. Already making out the point that this is common fucking sense. Dude, are you kidding? This is common sense. This woman is absolutely qualified to determine whether or not those are dog bites, dog scratches. What's up, James Jackson? Good to see you, buddy. Finally, the methodology can be tested by comparing dog-induced human wounds to wounds attributed to other causes. Right there it is. Precisely what Dr. Russell has done in her career and the same analysis that the literature endorses. So again, finally, the methodology can be tested by comparing dog-induced human wounds to wounds attributed to other causes, such as, for instance, a pedestrian traffic accident, a pedestrian, someone being hit by a car, maybe. For each of these reasons, Dr. Russell's pattern recognition methodology is reliable. The Commonwealth's legal-only assertions to the contrary are incorrect, unsupported, and at best are again an improper invitation to the court to weigh the evidence, rather than fulfill its limited role as gatekeeper. The Commonwealth is free to test its unsupported case narrative that Mr. O'Keefe's arm injuries were caused by something other than an animal attack on cross-examination at trial. But it may not prevent Ms. Reed from presenting qualified and reliable evidence that contradicts the its hypotheses. The Commonwealth has not shown that an evidentiary hearing is required. The evidentiary hearing is required because the court already heard and denied the Commonwealth's prior challenge, and the Commonwealth has presented no new evidence, such as an affidavit from an expert of its own relevant medical literature, in conflict with Dr. Russell's anticipated testimony. No hearing required where court already decided Delbert Lanning motion for before trial. Moreover, the report of Dr. Russell demonstrates that an evidentiary hearing is not required. Consequently, no evidentiary hearing should be convened to assess Dr. Russell's qualifications or the reliability of her testimony, both of which are well established in the current record. For the reasons above, Ms. Reed specifically requests that the Honorable Court deny the Commonwealth's motion to exclude the expert testimony of Dr. Marie Russell, deny the Commonwealth's request for an evidentiary hearing, and cancel the hearing scheduled for December 12, 2024, to the extent that it is intended as an evidentiary hearing under Delbert Lanigan. And respectfully submitted for the defendant, Karen Reed, by her attorneys, Robert Alessi, Alan Jackson, and David Yannetti. Okay, man, I'm impressed. This is Mr. Alessi. I forgot all about this guy. How did this guy slip my mind? The civil attorney, the trial attorney who was brought on from New York, and he's working he's working pro bono because he believes in Karen Reed's innocence. And he wrote this very, very beautifully eloquent and, for the most part, easy for me to read response to the Commonwealth's motion. Very awesome. Very awesome. I like this dude. Now, so people were saying in chat that this is this guy he got the motion as far as they're gonna have the hearing. Okay. Now, here's the thing: is I understand the hearing, and I'll explain. I understand now. The defense is doing what the defense is supposed to do. They're lawyering like they're supposed to lawyer. But the thing is like, I understand, since it's a retrial, despite the fact that we shouldn't even be going to another trial, she should never been to trial in the first place. There's a new case now, or there's a new trial now. So there's a new prosecutor. He might have a different argument than Lally did. Does that make sense? So it makes sense for Bev to hear him out. So to have that hearing, in my opinion, I think it makes sense for Bev to hear that guy out. Now, we know the fucking whole thing is a sham, but what I'm saying is it makes sense. it's what would be expected, I would think. So I'm going to go over a couple of things here. There's been some stuff on Twitter. Let me see. Maybe I'll go over that stuff later. Well, no, let me take a look at it. I'll decide. I love Mark Randazza, dude. This guy's fucking post. Grandpa, eat a bag of rotten dicks. This guy's a lawyer. I had him on here one time. He was helping out with the Canton 9 case for a minute there. Your grandpa, eat a bag of rotten dicks. Your family sucks so bad it produced a teen who thought it was okay to be part of a home invasion. There is nothing unfair about killing a home invader. In fact, I believe it to be your civic duty to do so. I love that shit. I eat that shit up, people. I absolutely eat that shit up. Where's like see, I'll just find stuff that I like reposted. Yeah, so now Hank Brennan is trying to challenge the ARCA experts, which is interesting. Thanks to Nurse Kim. Big shout out to Nurse Kim for posting this on Twitter. So right here, I don't think I get, there we go. So says here the Commonwealth moves pursuant blah 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 that the defense produce reciprocal discovery pertaining to employees of ARCA LLCC, including but not limited to Daniel Wolf and Andrew Rentschler, as experts potentially be called by the defendant at her second trial. The Commonwealth is entitled to proper and complete discovery pursuant to the defendant's discovery obligations under blah, 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 blah. Provides for an automatic exchange of discovery regarding intended expert opinion evidence. The Commonwealth requests the defendant produce the following materials. A complete statement of all opinions to be expressed by Daniel Wolf and Andrew Rentschler and the basis and reasons for each opinion. All notes, reports, and materials relied upon either witness for reviewing the specific case. Request for materials is not limited to the expert's report. The Commonwealth is requesting all materials relied upon in review, even if the materials are not part of the expert's report or opinion in the trial. Interesting. Okay. Goes on to say that they want a copy of all materials provided to ARCA LLC, Daniel Wolf, Andrew Rentschler, or any representative of the United States Attorney's Office by any member of the defense team or by the United States Attorney's Office. The request includes all materials, including written documentary, video, witness statements, and witnesses produced. Okay, let me read that one more time, folks, because this is fascinating to me. I got to refresh my coffee because because we've taken a few detours here. Let's be honest. As a community, folks, following this case, my friends, my loves, we have taken a few detours here. And this is very, very telling. I'm going to read this one more time. A copy of all materials provided to ARCA LLC, Daniel Wolf, Andrew Rentschler, or any representative of the United States Attorney's Office by any member of the defense team or by the United States Attorney's Office. The request includes all materials, including written, documentary, video, and ding, 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 ding. Here we go. Witness statements and witnesses produced. Witness statements and witnesses produced. What does that tell you, folks? What's my boy saying here? Yeah, this is going to piss off Josh Levy, most definitely. But you see what they're doing right now. This is the same shit as they were doing with Turtle Boys Tech. They're trying to use the ARCA experts who were hired independently by the FBI and testified at the last trial, who basically prove that there is no physical scientific explanation as to John O'Keefe sustaining those injuries and being hit by a vehicle. They say that there is no scientific explanation for this. Can't be done. So why the fuck do they want witness lists? The U.S. Attorney's witness lists. Isn't this what Michael Morrissey was fishing for? Isn't this what Michael Morrissey was fishing for in his letters to the United States Attorney's Office? Oh, how soon we forget, folks. How soon we forget. What am I looking at, Cherry? Defendants, Commonwealth's motion. Oh. Oh, yeah, I know. I denied. Thank you. I got it. I mean, how soon we forget, folks. This is why we got to keep our eye on the ball. This is exactly what's going on here. Everything's been a fishing expedition. This bullshit about getting the news and Gretchen Voss's off the record footage and recordings of any kind with Karen Reed, as if there's going to be a confession in that shit and they just sat on it as reporters. Right. Biggest fucking scoop ever. They get the exclusive confession and they're just sitting on it. Fuck out of my face. Yellow Cottage Cheese, thank you so much. Brennan is trying to get discovery materials, but according to Melanie Little, he's not entitled to until he provides his discovery. Okay, thank you. That's helpful. That's very helpful. Appreciate that. But the point I'm making here, though, is that this is exactly what Hank Brennan is doing. This isn't Hank Brennan. This is Hank Brennan doing what Michael Morrissey wants him to do. Well, if I can't get anything out of Turtle Boys Tech, well, then I'll just go straight to the U.S. Attorney and find out who their fucking witnesses are. Kyle Cowden, thank you so much. Sure, the feds can't wait to give all their files. Right. I mean, that's never going to fucking happen. The fact that this guy has the fucking balls tells you that he is a mob goon hired as an attorney. That is what this man is, dude. Sorry, Hank Brennan, but this is exactly what you are officially. If you weren't that before, okay, but what you are right now at this moment is a fucking mob goon. Because you're sitting here and you're trying to manipulate the law to find out what the U.S. attorney has on your ass, on your dirty ass. You're using Karen Reed's case to try to fucking fish for sources, witnesses. Incredible. All materials provided to either witnesses after the conclusion of the defendant's first trial. Wow. So all materials provided to either witness or after the conclusion of the defendant's first trial. So they want an update on what's been going on since the trial. I love that shit. Bold as fuck. Brennan is like just pissing in the wind here. This is amazing. Describe and produce any exhibits to be used as a summary of or support for the opinion. Describe the compensation paid to either expert for all work done regarding this case, including case preparation, testimony, travel, and expenses. Provide any contracts, agreements, or documents relative to Daniel Wolf, Andrew Rentschler, and ARCA LLC discussing compensation relative to this case. Provide all written communications, including emails and text messages between any member of the defense team and employees of ARCA. Wow. Provide copies of all testing not previously disclosed, including crash tests, video reenactments, and any other testing materials and results, regardless of whether the witness will testify to the information at trial. Provide all written communications, including emails and text messages between the United States Attorney's Office and employees of ARCA LLC. Provide all communications between the United States Attorney's Office and any member of the defense team as it pertains to the expert testimony in this case. Oh, get the fuck out of my face. You're never going to get that. Including dates and substance of phone calls, copies of any written correspondence, dates of any strategy meetings, and list of materials received from the United States Attorney's Office. What? Provide a copy of all written requests that have been made by the defense team. Holy shit, dude. Who the fuck does this guy think he is? Now, is Judge Bev gonna fucking approve this? And does she have the authority? That's what I want to know. Does she have the authority? Does she have the authority to make the United States Attorney's Office fork over key information in an open investigation? An investigation that's going on while a trial is happening, involving people in the trial, which has never been done before, by the way, according to the Vanity Fair article. Never been done. It's never happened. So I don't see how she could have the authority to make that happen. I just don't see it. And so, like, if she doesn't have the authority to make that happen, that begs the question, what the fuck does Hank Brennan think he's doing with this motion? What does he think? What does he expect to happen here? It makes no sense. No, I love it because this is the overall thing here. I mean, listen, the overall thing here is if all of this goes down, there's no escaping the fact that the jury is going to know that the district attorney was under federal investigation or is under federal investigation. And there's no way to hide that. The cat's out of the bag. That's done. That's it. So that means that Jackson Yannetti, whoever else can basically just say, yeah, there's an open investigation. I mean, I'd love to see them call Michael Morrissey to the stand. That's what I want to see happen. I want to see Michael Morrissey get called to the stand. I'd love to see that shit. Like, y'all might be thinking that's never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen. I mean, Ken Mello's gonna get called to the stand. In Turtle Boy's case, Ken Mello's gonna get called to the stand. That's gonna be pretty amazing. That I've never seen before. So, I mean, what could be happening here is an absolute Streisand effect. That's a possibility where this just completely blows up in the Commonwealth's face and opens all kinds of doors for the defense to be able to show the jury why this shit is corrupt. Like all of that shit that got blocked by Judge Bev from the jury could be wide open now. Hopefully. So, yeah, that's and big shout out to Nurse Kim again, man. She's fantastic. And her point of posting that she says, well, not to be a bitch or anything, but it appears Hank Brennan still hasn't done his summer reading. He hasn't even watched the movie, nationally televised trial. So embarrassing. The FBI provided the entirety of a 3,027 page findings to both Commonwealth and defense pretrial. Exactly. This is another very simple point here. Dr. Daniel Wolf and Dr. Andrew Rentschler came to Massachusetts for a void year, which included CVs and the findings from their research and experiments. For the first time in front of Judge Beverly Cannoni, ADA, Lally, and defense, they were admitted to testify as experts. Oof. Hank, please call Lal before you file any more motions. So, yeah, lest we forget that most of the shit that he's talking about, if not all of it, I mean, whatever they're ever going to get from the U.S. Attorney's Office is in that fucking 3,000 page discovery in the TUI report. I mean, so what's the problem here? What's the problem here? What are you doing, Hank? You already got what you're going to get out of this. Like the fact that you even filed this motion is ridiculous. So now we're going to have a little fun. We're going to unwind, folks. We're going to unwind. We're going to make it we're going to just have a little fun because the title of this video, I got to be honest with you guys, the title of this video, and I haven't done these in a minute. This is just my way of making it up to you guys that I haven't spent enough time with you guys. But we're going to do a Plevinism because his title from his last stream, you can see it right here. BLM, Black Lives Matter, and Free Karen Reed, same thing. Now that's got to be, in theory, one of the stupidest fucking the stupidest arrangement of words put together that I've ever heard in my life. So this merits a Plevinism. We're gonna have a little Plevinism, folks. We're doing that today. Oh, it's muted. My bad.
We need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
Just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Okay, let's pull down the wrong one. All right. So let's compare that to this one here, which we played this for you guys the other night. And there was more that guy said there too. He talked about they were gonna, I think he said something to the effect they're gonna be bodies on the street last night. Let's compare this to Mr. Turtle.
We didn't do it, then someone else did because John's dead. So that's the first thing they do is hire these guys. So like nothing else matters, like nothing else except if she didn't do this, this is the only thing that matters. And this doesn't just cover murder, it covers manslaughter as well. Because that's the whole manslaughter thing was a compromise verdict. I just feel like it's like, well, we gotta throw Peggy a bone. She's sitting there fake crying. So we got to make it, seem like, we're doing this woman a favor because we got to do something. She's crying. She's looking right at us. And Brian Albert's scaring the shit out of us. So, murder was, first of all, the murder, no murder and manslaughter makes no sense either to me. It never did. Because 24 miles an hour in reverse can never be an accident, ever. It's either murder or nothing. And the answer is nothing. And the fact that more than one person can reach the conclusion, this is reach the conclusion, can vote to take 20 years of someone's life away, because that's what they're doing when they vote guilty. Vote to take 20 years of someone's life away because they're that sure that she hit them with the car is criminal in and of itself. And I'm sick of pretending that it's not. I really am. And when this is all said and done, I think every member of the jury who voted to do this should be named and shamed. I do. Not now. But when this is all said and done, and Karen Reed is exonerated, and the FBI does their thing, and the bad guys are arrested, there needs to be some sort of
It's the attic actually, but
of reconciliation here, especially with the foreman and the engineer, who kind of were the bullies in the room who allowed this to happen.
I'm still waiting.
Why are they not having why are they not being shamed? How are they not part of the problem? Oh, they're just.
I'm waiting for Plevin to get to the part where Aiden says something in regards that is even comparable to what we just heard this gentleman from the BLM movement, this spokesperson from the BLM movement who we heard talking about we need some vigilantes. Now, but I'm not hearing it.
Just pause that there for a second. So, do you see the commonality here?
No.
So a jury,
nobody sees the commonality, you dumb shit.
Acquitted Penny, the white former Marine who choked to death, strangled to death, not choked, strangled to death accidentally when he put him into a hold. A man who was mentally ill on a subway train in New York City who happened to be black and who was high on PCP and who was threatening badly people on that women. One woman urinated herself because she was so anxious, so nervous, so frightened, so terrified by this. And so this guy put him in a chokehold to try to control him, to protect those people. Now,
so I'm gonna guess that Plevin right now, I'm gonna just take a shot in the dark because I haven't listened to this yet. You guys know I like to do reactions. So I'm gonna take a stab in the dark here and just say that Plevin is just using this. He's using Karen Reed. It's clickbait. He wants to whine and bitch about the BLM guy and what he said. That's what he's doing. He wants to whine and bitch about the BLM guy, and he wants to hashtag free Karen Reed to get people to watch. What a moron.
it was a mixed race jury that came to this conclusion. And this Black Lives Matter figure there doesn't want to accept that. So he wants to resort to vigilante justice. Now, how different is that from Aidan Kearney, who is rejecting the fact that 9 jurors voted guilty for manslaughter on this case.
Dude, I am so fucking sick of that stupid fucking argument, dude, that 9 jurors voted guilty on this case. 9 jurors didn't know who hired Arca, you dumb motherfucker. 9 jurors did not know who hired Arca. That's why every time, dude, like I just troll his fucking Twitter posts. I made a meme. I made a meme of Spider-Man peeking out and going, Arca. That's my fucking response to this guy every time now. Like there's no other argument now. Bottom line. Now, I realize that there are people who say Colin did it. Okay? But for me, my opinion to this day, and I respect everyone's opinion. I respect everyone's opinion on who, you know, they feel had the most motive. Okay. My money based on the evidence that I saw is still on Brian Higgins having the most motive and having the most evidence against him. But the bottom line here is Arca is the end of the argument. That is something that I wholeheartedly agree with Turtle Boy on. Is Arca is the end of the argument. That's it. These guys were hired independently by the FBI, not the defense. And they testified that there is no way scientifically that John O'Keefe's injuries were sustained by being hit by a vehicle. They are not consistent in any way, shape, or form with that. And Karen Reed did not hit a pedestrian with her vehicle. She just didn't. And the damage to the taillight happening the way that it did. It just didn't happen. And then the lack of damage in other parts of the car. It just didn't happen. There's no way. That's the simple, that's it. That's the end. That's the game ender. Okay? Arca, it's over. Knowing those guys testified, knowing their background, knowing their credentials, and knowing who hired them, and under the circumstances of which they were hired, is enough for me to be absolutely 100% certain that Karen Reed is not guilty of this crime. Period.
That means at least 9 of them utterly dismissed a conspiracy theory that he tells you is so self-evident that no other opinions on the other side can be allowed. This is what he told Phelps on the one time he was online.
So that's
it. You can't even
argument, just to conclude what I was saying, that Arca argument shuts down that bullshit 9 juror argument. I'm sick and fucking tired of that 9 juror argument, dude. Like, because it's bullshit. And again, in order to find someone guilty, it's like they don't even understand the basic rule of law and how it works. I don't. But I happen to fucking know, everyone knows that the Commonwealth is burdened with the responsibility to provide proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And all jurors have to vote unanimously in order to get a guilty verdict. So when you say 9 jurors voted her guilty, that means fuck all. Nothing. 9 jurors means nothing when it comes to a guilty verdict. It might as well be 0. That's how the law works. You don't get to go, oh, well, 9 people. And the fact that on the other 2 counts, that those jurors voted not guilty unanimously also tells you everything that you need to know. It also shuts down that bullshit 9 juror fucking argument that this guy keeps bringing up. And every fucking idiot that follows him on Twitter keeps bringing up.
Even listen. You can't even talk to anybody else who doesn't 100% accept this conspiracy theory. He says that despite the fact that 9 jurors, at least 9, completely dismissed the conspiracy theory, the idea that John went in the house. And the other 3 probably did too. Turtle Boy interviewed one of them, and she did not say anything in that about believing that John went in the house. That's the interview that he did with her. So the other 3 are probably just people that just weren't ready to convict Karen based on the state's case. They weren't convinced beyond a reasonable doubt. But there's no evidence that they believe that John was killed by anybody inside the house.
They don't have to. They don't have to believe and be proven to that John O'Keefe went inside the house. They just have to wonder whether or not he did. That right there is doubt on whether or not Karen Read struck him with her vehicle. Period. That's how it works, Plevin. I mean, you write these long, stupid fucking... That's why nobody reads them. Because you don't understand. You dismiss this very simple concept of how the law works. In all of your rants and all of your fucking hot air bullshit that you fucking blast all over Twitter and blast all over your bullshit little channel and blast all over Court TV, you're fucking dumb because you don't grasp the simple concept that negates anything that you say, which is the fact that the burden of proof is on the prosecution, period. There's no way the jury does not have to believe that John O'Keefe went inside that house. The jury simply has to question whether or not John O'Keefe went inside that house. And again, if the jury questions whether or not John O'Keefe went inside that house, then that means that they doubt whether or not Karen Read struck John O'Keefe with her vehicle. Period. This is why no one takes you serious, pleb. This is why you only attract the dumbest fucking people to listen to you. This is exactly why. I may never have to do a Plevinism again because this is just shutting him down. Everything that he ever says, this is me shutting him the fuck down. Everything that he says. 9 people. 9 people means nothing when it's not unanimous. That's how juries work.
So the people that heard all of the evidence, which was very poorly presented to them, did not believe that John went inside the house. But this mob does believe that. This is what goes on. Listen, I'm not trying to insult people that have heard just bits and scraps of this and mean well and believe in free Karen Read. And I'm not trying to insult people that are black and understand that there are examples through our history, including modern history, where a black victim is killed and racially profiled. Now, sometimes those things happen that way.
You know what's really funny is listening to him try to choose his words all carefully. He's one of those really awkward fucking bigots. I'm not saying he's racist. There's a difference between a racist and a bigot, okay? But I definitely think he's a fucking bigot. And he's so offended by this BLM guy. Again, man, if you believe in freedom of speech, man, he has the right to stand up there and say that shit, man. That's it. You don't have to like it, I mean, and I'm not saying I support it. I support his right to say it. I absolutely fucking support his right to stand up there and say what he said. 100%. I don't like it, but that's what free speech is all about, dude. I'm going to hear things that I don't like sometimes. But I would fight just as hard for his right to say what I don't like, just as much as anybody's saying what I do like. That's what this is about. So it's just really funny to listen to Plevin How do I talk about this thing because I'm a fucking bigot? Because it pisses me off because I'm a bigot and not sound like a bigot when I do it. It's fucking brilliant. I love this guy. How do you hate Plevin? You can't. It's fucking hilarious.
that way, and
He
racial
provides
profiling
so much
is-
joy. Listen,
who are black and understand. Let's believe that John went inside the house, but this mob does believe that. This is what goes on. Listen, I'm not trying to insult people that have heard just bits and scraps of this and mean well and believe in free care and read. And I'm not trying to insult people that are black and understand that there are examples through our history, including modern history, where a black victim is killed and racially profiled. Now, sometimes those things happen that way, and racial profiling is a factor in it, and sometimes it's not a factor. But with this Black Lives Matter movement, that's always the narrative. That's it. No matter what happens. There was an incident
like
a couple of years. So in the heat of this Black Lives Matter movement,
when he says the word black in that context, it trips him up. It's the funniest shit in the world. It freaks him the fuck out. Like I'm saying black out loud. I don't know what to do. Oh my god. I have no idea how to fucking process any of this. Dude, Plevin, relax, man. It's okay.
movement where police were responding to a fight between two black women, and a very, very large black woman, just as the police were arriving, took out a large knife and was lunging towards the small black woman who was unarmed and was about to kill her. And the cop jumped out of his car and amazingly shot this woman and killed her and saved the life of the other woman. But even in that circumstance,
You forgot to say black
said,
woman.
this is clearly an example of racism. Crazy. Why couldn't you have shot this man in the leg? What is this? This woman in the leg? What is this? A Hollywood movie? That cop, who happened to be white, saved the life of the smaller black woman who was getting into an argument with the woman with the knife. Who was literally, the knife was inches away when she was shot. So that's not an example of a racist killing. But that's what Black Lives Matter would tell you, because it's all about a narrative. And a lot of those people that founded Black Lives Matter, it has since emerged, have made a lot of money. One of the founders has managed to go from being working class to now wealthy and owns multiple homes.
Again, I don't think that he's
So even in that, there are people.
well, no, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and concede, because I a bigot is different than a racist. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say Plevin's probably a fucking racist. I mean, dude, he's the difference between a racist and a bigot is like with a bigot, like they're they discriminate. You know what I mean? But there's not really hatred there. It's like they feel, they're quick to stereotype, and that's different. A racist hates. A racist feels like, how dare a race that's not equal to mine, act like they are. And it scares the shit out of them to see black people empowered. It scares the shit out of a racist. And I mean, he's clearly really, really worked up over that BLM guy saying what he said, which is just really funny, dude. Like, it's okay to disagree with him, but why do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be mad about what he's saying, dude. Like, it's not even that big a deal, Like, yeah, it's okay. But Jesus, man, clutching your pearls and shit, like clutching your pearls in fucking 1967 Mississippi, you fucking racist fuck.
There are people that are
Jesus,
grifting
man.
and exploiting these cases, and sometimes what's resulting in neighborhoods being burned down, just so they can benefit, just so they can advance their own name. And that's what we're seeing all over the place in Karen Reed, right? You're seeing all of these people who refuse to look at the other side, refuse to even consider the fact that that 9 jurors voted guilty here, despite a really flawed case presented by the prosecution.
Because those 9 jurors
They won't stop. You don't see
mean
Melody Little
nothing.
stop back and say, "Huh, wonder if I should reconsider some of this," because even though the state was kind of lame, and throughout the trial, I made weird expressions.
You know why she's not going to do that? Because you're Plevin and she's a lawyer. Fucking dumb shit. You're in an attic. Shut the fuck up.
To everything the prosecutor was saying. So I'm Melanie Little, and I don't think the prosecutor did a good job, but yet they got 9 people to vote guilty.
This guy acts
So doesn't
like
that make me, Melanie Little, question whether or not I've got this right, especially given that everything that I was telling people right before the trial, I got wrong. I was saying the belt was missing. Belt was in evidence. I was saying the shoe was missing. Shoe was in evidence.
It's just so funny to listen to this guy rant and rave about a 9 juror count. That means fucking nothing, dude. Like, it's irrelevant.
I was saying the hat was missing. The hat was in evidence. Are you capable of any soul searching, Melanie Little? Because you're just grifting on this case, aren't you? You had a medical expert on that told you something you weren't expecting, that those were not dog bites. Didn't cause you to do any introspection to question any of this. So it's pure grifting. Young Jelly, LTL, the Glare, these are just con men that show up here that are not after the truth. They're after benefiting from linking themselves to this cause.
All right.
And this is the same thing here. So you have
Okay, so I didn't expect a shout out. Thank you, Plevin. So what's really funny about this is like he's saying that nothing of what I'm saying is true. Tell me one thing that I said that wasn't true. Like literally one fucking thing that I just said that wasn't true. I mean, I'm not even barely stating opinions. Like I'm giving a fact. Like a very simple fact that 9 jurors, you bringing up these 9 jurors means fuck all, dude. It doesn't mean anything. 9 jurors means nothing because a guilty verdict has to be unanimous. You fucking, when you say words out loud like and together, 9 jurors found her guilty, you sound like a fucking retard. 9 jurors found her guilty. That's a fucking oxymoron. It doesn't matter. Guilty verdict has to be unanimous. Has to be 12. Dummy. Thank you so much, Hot Wheels. I appreciate you. Grift Fund. Hell yeah. This guy's unbelievable, dude.
this Black Lives Matter fella in New York is completely rejecting the work of this jury.
That's Somebody find me footage of Plevin referring to a white person as fella. Because I guarantee it doesn't fucking exist. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. This Black Lives Matter fella. Oh, you're just joking. I don't think he is. I think he is, dude. I think he's fucking racist as fuck. Appreciate it, Microdots. I think he is. I'll stick by that shit.
That was mixed race and that worked diligently. And you're hearing Turtle Boy threaten the same thing. He's saying, we're going to out these people. Now, he tries to compare it to the Chesney case where there was one juror that dismissed.
Bro, where did you hear Aiden use the word fucking vigilante? Like, how you're talking about, like, where did you hear him say, let's go kill the people who I think killed John O'Keefe? Where do you hear him say anything of the sort? That's fucking ridiculous. I'm telling you, this is why I stick by my statement, Microdots, because he's using Turtle Boy and shit talking Turtle Boy. He's manipulating his viewers. And when he times his lives, yeah, I know that, Microdots. I get that. And I'm the same way. But let's just fucking call a spade here right now, because what he's doing is he's going live now, and he goes live strategically at the same time as Turtle Boy. so that Turtle Boy haters will watch him and Turtle Boy lovers won't troll him because they're busy watching Turtle Boy. That's why he does it. Like he thinks it's slick. It's, I mean, you know, it's smart. It's the only thing he could fucking do. But he's using Turtle Boy and he's trying to maintain, because he knows goddamn well if he just starts talking about the BLM guy and airing out his fucking grievances about the BLM guy and what the BLM guy says, if he does that, he's not going to attract the crowd. He's going to get fucking 20 people in his chat. But if he talks about Turtle Boy and say, oh, is the Free Karen Reed thing and the BLM thing the same thing? He's going to get all his Turtle Boy haters in his chat. That's all that's going on here. So he's using Turtle Boy, the subject of Turtle Boy, to be able to whine and bitch about the BLM guy. That's all this is.
Evidence for her own reasons. But this is not like that. You're talking about, so in the first trial, 9. And what happens in the second trial if they do a much better case and you get a verdict? What's he going to do? Is he going to call for vigilante justice? We can't be surprised of everybody in this anymore. This is who he is. All right. This is a guy that put out a very well lit, a very well written Twitter post yesterday, saying that he does a lot of introspection, looking in the mirror, that he makes mistakes. He apologized to Nick.
It's actually a really good post, man.
But when you look at the,
I was especially impressed by that post. I thought it was extremely refreshing to hear Turtle Boy and you know, the kind of influence that he has in the community and pour his heart out the way that he did. I thought that was gutsy, man. So I commend Turtle Boy for writing that.
the actions of the guy, none of it's sincere. So whether he crafted that letter himself or did it with the help of other people, it was done because, look, a couple of weeks ago, we got the...
So the guy who writes for a living as an independent journalist got someone to help him write that post on Twitter, write a Twitter post. That's your insinuation there, dude, that the guy who has his own online rag is he needed help to write from his heart on Twitter. That's brilliant, man. That's fucking brilliant.
The admin chat.
The former teacher, right? Exactly.
Turtle Boy, Aiden, back on May 3rd, angry at the Roccos because Nick Rocco was going on court TV and coming out and saying that who do you think was behind when Turtle Boy went to the bleachers of Jen McCabe's daughter's lacrosse game, and who was the one, when Turtle Boy was strangely saying, you didn't think you could outsmart Karen Reed, right? He said that a couple of times. He claims that it was Karen that told him to.
All right, dude, shut up for a second. We need to take an intermission.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
How dare you?
Loudmouth's Wild Bird Rescue. Wouldn't it be interesting to know how fast Helena was driving and what specific injuries the man she hit suffered compared to John O'Keefe? Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Rafferty. Yeah, when she hit that pedestrian. I know what you're talking about. I thought about that when it happened. I always wondered. I don't know if I ever said anything out loud about it. Aiden doesn't approve of the CEO assassination. That's vigilante justice. Agreed. Right. None of us approve of it. Like none of us approve of that shit. That's some coward shit, dude. Like it goes against everything that we're fucking trying to do here. It goes against everything he's doing. You know? Like they're trying to shut him up. They threw him in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like he's fighting against that. So he's going to approve somebody fucking shooting somebody? That's crazy. Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on Plevin there. I just wanted to I just hadn't done it in a while and the title intrigued me. So I mean, dude, that's the most awkward fucking cringe shit right there. Plevin, you are fucking just something else, man. Seriously. All right. All right. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I haven't done that shit in a minute. Phone lines are open, folks. Anybody wants to call in, they can call in. Oh, yeah. Chris knows. Chris knows what's up. Fuck yeah. Listen, I don't think that it's any question anymore that I have the dopest drip on YouTube.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Well, you have to guess.
Hello?
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 Well, hello.
Hi.
How are you, sweetheart?
Fantastic. Who am I speaking with?
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Who am I speaking with?
Óyeme, papo. También y tú. Vamos a respetarnos. How are things going?
Ay, Dios mío. ¿Quién es?
Ay, Dios mío. Tú sabes quién es. Yo no te voy a decir quién es.
Okay,
Me voy a
all right.
quedar escondida. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So I wanted to pitch an idea to you.
Oh my God.
See what you... Can I pitch an idea?
I suppose you could pitch an idea.
And no offense, but let me tell you that I have no idea what the show was about because I was doing something else. So at the minute that I sat in front of the computer, you put the phone. So I jumped at it to see if for the first time I get to be the first person that calls. But anyhow, I was going to pitch you this idea. Did you ever pay attention to when
we don't make mistakes. We have happy
Hank
accidents.
Brennan was discussing the motion where he was asking for the phone information from Karen Reed's parents, mom and dad?
Was I? Yeah, I was in the courtroom when he did that.
Oh yeah, you're right. That was the day that you were there.
Mhm.
Okay, so that was based on a specific case study, which
Okay.
apparently, based on what Miss Little was arguing, it had to meet 5 requirements or something, and it was missing 3 of the 5. Do you remember that?
Yes. Vaguely. I don't remember what they
So-
were, but yeah, I remember that. The 5 requirements.
Okay, so I just wanted to plant this seed. I think that motion could have very well be, he planted a seed to see if he could bait Bev, like the judge, and see if she would approve it blindly. You know, like she would approve anything that the Commonwealth would present without taking into consideration of the fact that the motion did not comply with the whole 5 requirements of the case law that they refer to, which I forget the name.
Okay.
Or if he did it on purpose because he was talking about the second charge, the manslaughter charge, which is not the charge that was presented to the Supreme Court of Justice to be dropped because he was facing double jeopardy situation. I don't want to. I want to be as direct as possible, but are you following me? So,
Somewhat.
okay, so if there were two charges that were presented to the Supreme Court of Justice to be dropped, because if they didn't, then he would be facing a double jeopardy situation, right? And that's the reason why they brought that motion to the Supreme Court of Justice, to see if the Supreme Court of Justice would actually agree to acquit Karen on those two charges that all the jurors agreed upon that she was not guilty, right?
I don't know if they can acquit her. I think what they're trying to get the Supreme Court justice to do is allow the jury to be voir dired individually.
Okay, well, can you play with me here for a minute? I just follow my lead here. Let's say, for instance, that the Supreme Court of Justice
What
finds...
if you're going down the wrong road?
Okay, then we'll go together and we'll come back. Listen to me. So let's think for a minute. Let's think that those two charges, at some point, they decide that, yes, we cannot do this because those were the two charges that all the jurors said that she was not guilty of, and we're going to drop those two, and you only have one charge to work with, okay? So for me, when I saw Hank Brennan arguing that motion, trying to get to the phone numbers for mom and dad, he was specifically arguing that information to support his theory of premeditation in regards to charge number 2, right?
I guess.
Okay, you're not helping me, man. I was trying to brainstorm, and you're just bringing me down.
I'm not trying to bring you down.
I'm
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Because I'm so excited about this, because I think this is leading to something, and then you're not playing along. Like, that's okay.
It's just
okay.
hard for
I
me to
came
pay
in and
attention.
get a little
Clover's being needy. It's just hard for me to pay attention. You're going down too deep a rabbit hole for me right now. Like, we're already going on 2.5 hours.
Okay, and I just came in, so I'm gonna have to rewatch this thing on replay because I have no idea what it is that you were talking to until I got here and I saw that you put the number and I jumped at it to see if I could be the first caller. So,
well, you were, and I'm glad you were.
yeah, me too. I'm glad you're doing okay. It's been a minute, so.
All right.
All
Awesome.
right, sweetheart. Bye.
Thank you, Fulano.
Adios, papito. Bye.
Bye. Okay, next caller.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Not that Dina.
Not that Dina always gets through. Oh my God. That is amazing.
Well,
What's up, not
watching...
that Dina?
Nothing. I was just watching you glaze over on that last phone call. So I thought I'd wake you up.
Appreciate it.
I just wanted to ask, when are you going to do another, when are you going to do part 3 with Hannibal and Monty? I enjoyed those so much.
Sorry. I think it was on a loop. There we go. It's done. Okay. I don't know. The third one is not in the works officially yet, but we all have the intention of doing a third one. I'm not sure when. I don't know if it'll be before or after the holiday, but I'm hoping that we do one very
you do
soon.
It sooner than later.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I really.
It was so fun.
Yeah, they're
fun.
They're great. They are just yeah.
And I also just wanted to call.
I hope you guys have
go
been
ahead.
watching their channel. They're fucking great. I'm telling you, they're my favorite channel.
They're great, but I'm not like looking to see who the best rapper is. For real, I just can't
but
be
it's
doing
still
that.
funny. You
If
don't have
they
to
do,
really
like,
know what they're.
movies and stuff.
You really don't have to know what they're talking about. Like they're just funny anyway. Like I don't know what I don't listen to rap. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about half the time. You know, but they're fucking hilarious, and they make they help you understand it anyway. They understand that not everybody knows what they're talking about. You know, they make it easy.
Well, I've watched some of their movie stuff.
Yeah,
when they do stuff about movies.
Yeah, they do stuff about
You
movies
know.
all the time. They're great.
They're freaking hilarious. Anyways, I'm glad that you are doing this today because we missed you.
I missed you guys
you,
too.
Daddy.
I missed you guys too.
All right. Well, you have a Merry Christmas.
You too. I mean, you've seen me
And-
plenty before then. But yeah.
Yeah, but not necessarily a call-in, and I'm not always available.
Who knows, man?
I watch a lot of you.
The day is
over
still
time.
young. I might go live again tonight. Who knows?
Yeah, and I'll probably be asleep. Depends on how many boxes of wine I go through. It's one of those days. It's pouring rain out. It's shitty. It looks like a werewolf's about to come out the woods behind my house at any moment. It's
Yeah,
not,
it was like that here the last
it
couple
doesn't.
of days, but it's sunny today. Finally,
Oh, that's nice.
actually
Well, I got
snowed
my
this
Christmas
morning.
tree,
It snowed a little.
so
this morning.
that'll brighten me up. And your Christmas tree is beautiful.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
And you're beautiful, Daddy. You have a wonderful, wonderful day
All right, thank you. Not
with your sunshine.
You
All
too.
right.
Bye.
Bye, hon.
Call from
Tiny Wood.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, it's Piney Woods.
Piney Woods Law. I love it. What's up?
I just thought I would buzz in and tell you what I think about those motions.
Let's hear it.
Well, I think, for one, you knew Bev was going to deny defense's motion, which was very well written by the new guy.
Yeah,
And I
man.
think so well written. Anyway, she denied it almost immediately, but she shouldn't have. And I'm
You don't
hoping
think
that
so?
now-
Because you're an attorney. I want to make sure everybody you're a retired attorney.
Yes.
Make sure everybody in the chat knows
I've
that.
gone back to writing, but that's it. I'm not in the courtroom anymore.
Right. Now, but I'm of the opinion now. I don't know if you listened to that earlier, but I'm of the opinion that since it's a new trial, I believe that's the grounds that Bev is using because it's a new trial, and so it makes sense to hear out the new prosecutor's argument on whether or not Russell is qualified.
Did you hear? I mean, did you read his argument? It
No.
was baloney.
No, I didn't. Yeah.
I read his argument in the motion, and it was like she doesn't have experience about dog behavior, and all this. It was crazy. It was completely wrong, and didn't attack her Daubert qualifications at all. So,
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, he's
and
he's just looking
and
for, like I
part of
said,
Daubert
he's throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks. That's all he's doing. He has no case. There's no case. The whole point,
Yes, but
like,
but an
it's the
ethical
prosecution's burden to present a case, and they don't have a case. So how are they going to present a case?
I don't know. I mean, it's a good prosecutor looks at what he's got in front of him or she's got in front of her. And
Keep
says,
talking. Hey, listen, Piney Woods, keep talking. I can hear you, but you got to keep talking because I got to step away for just a second. But keep talking. I can hear you.
Okay. What I'm saying is part of Daubert qualification as an expert is having been Daubert qualified before. That's one of the elements. And, you know, you've been qualified as an expert in these court cases. So the fact that she qualified her last time and then gave a discovery penalty that she couldn't talk about what the other injuries were caused by, that means, I mean, that should have been part of her Daubert qualification here. But, and it will be when they argue it at the stupid, unnecessary next hearing. But also, this time, she's going to be able, or she should be able to testify about the other injuries as well, because there's no discovery penalty. And she should be able to, I mean, she has expertise in all kinds of injuries.
Well, see,
including,
I'm not arguing that at all with you. My point being is what you're arguing. Wouldn't that just be something that the defense is going to argue when in the hearing? Like, the question isn't whether or not she's qualified. We're in agreement there. The question is whether or not it's merited that she, because I agree with you that since she already approved her, because I made that point, I stressed on it that since she already approved her, that, you know, that what the fuck, lady.
I mean, basically,
what are we doing here? But the thing is since it's a
prosecutor's gonna
new
have to say-
prosecutor, then that would just mean Brennan would have his chance to argue his point, but there's no way that Jackson's point is going to like not be, better than his point because she already approved him. But there would be,
Of course.
that would have to be brought up at the hearing, and the hearing is merited only because the new prosecutor has a right to be heard as far as his argument.
No,
goes.
but see, here's what the prosecutor has to argue in this instance.
Okay.
And I guess Bev's ego isn't too big, but the prosecutor's going to have to argue you were wrong when you thought she was an expert last time.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just an unenviable argument to make.
Well, he's going to have to make that argument, but he's going to have to prove it. He's going to have to tell Bev that she was wrong. And how's that going to go for him? He
it's
doesn't
not
like to
gonna
be told that she's wrong.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
This expert meets and more than that, all four elements of Daubert. It's not
Okay.
so. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, and
just think-
and it's brought up a lot in the defense's response, that Dauber thing. In that
Yeah.
it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I'm not we're in total agreement on that. I'm just saying the hearing itself, why she denied the hearing, seems to be a valid reason. You know what I mean? Or why she denied the motion to cancel the hearing and not have the hearing. Like why she's having the hearing makes sense to me.
all she said was denied. We're going to have a hearing.
Right.
And she didn't give a reason.
Well, does she have
So
to?
I don't know what. Well, she should have.
I mean, that would have been the more professional thing to do, but we're talking about Auntie Bev here, so
She's so disappointing.
yeah, she sucks.
But the other
That sucks.
motion getting denied was just because the new Commonwealth lawyer, Brennan, he keeps messing up on real simple first-year lawyer kind of baby lawyer stuff.
It's crazy.
Not serving the right people and all that stuff on his.
Yeah, I
seeking the
mean,
records from ABC.
this is going to go to trial, and he's going to try to he's going to try to out dazzle the jury.
How
and
can he?
well, right, he has nothing to dazzle them with. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, he may baffle them with bullshit.
Right.
But he's not
That's what
gonna
he's looking to
dazzle.
do. He's looking to confuse the
Yeah.
jury. He's looking to Michael Morrissey placed him there to do two things: misdirect the jury, and what I realized today was to fish for information as to the investigation into his office. That's what he's doing. He's trying to get that the information out of the U.S. Attorney's Office.
3,000 or 3,200 pages.
Well, they
whatever
have
was
it.
from the feds.
They
But
already
he
have
hasn't.
it.
I know.
They
So
already
what
have
he's
it.
asking for is
He's asking-
it's
Totally unreasonable.
unreasonably vague, and it. puts
Well,
a
what
lot
he's
of
asking
work
for
on
is
Al
directly, he's wanting witness lists. He asked directly for witness lists from the U.S. Attorney's Office. That's not included in that TUI report. I seriously doubt that. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe it is, but it's sealed. But only the court officers can read it. We can't see it, but they can. But but I don't think that they would put that witness list in the TUI report. Like,
But see, okay, let me
Yeah.
tell you from a defense lawyer's perspective. What he asked for was so broad. I mean, he's already got the information. He's asking for Alan Jackson and Company to dig through their information and give out portions, and
Right.
give out portions that they're going to use. I mean, it's not. It's
well,
it's
what
stupid.
what's
You've got the whole
what
thing.
good is a witness list going to do to convict Karen Reed? The only purpose the witness list serves is Michael Morrissey
to try to defend
knowing
the
what's
McAlbert.
no. Well, Michael Morrissey wanting to know what the FBI has on him, what the U.S. Attorney has on him, what he could try to clean up at the last second. What are they investigating him for? That's what he wants to know. He wants to know who's talking.
That's improper for that prosecutor.
Of course, that's my point. He's trying to find out who's going to testify against him once he's indicted. That's what he's trying to find out.
She should not grant that motion. Just
Of
on any number
course,
of
she
grounds.
can't. How could she have the authority to make the U.S. attorney disclose that information, disclose the identity of witnesses during an open investigation? How can she do that? I don't see how she has the authority to do that.
Not witnesses before the grand jury. No, it's secret.
Exactly. That's my point. Like, this is an absurd motion by Hank Brennan. Absurd.
Yes. And what he's going to argue is, I'm only seeking what was in the packet delivered to the defense counsel, and he was given the packet delivered to the defense counsel.
Right.
So he's already got, I don't understand it at all. It's unduly burdensome,
Okay.
overly broad, and I will object.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
And it's not the privilege the Commonwealth holds. The defense holds. It's the privilege the DOJ holds. So,
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm saying is, how does Bev have the authority to make the U.S. attorney disclose the identity of witnesses in an ongoing investigation? Explain that shit. So why does Hank Brennan think that she does? Why does Hank Brennan, more importantly, why does Hank Brennan think that she does have that authority?
Because I don't think Hank Brennan's all that in the bag of chips.
I agree. I think he's full of shit. I think he's 100%
we're once again going to have, a junior high football team playing, I don't know, the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
Who may not be great this year. I don't know. I don't really watch pro ball.
Who cares?
But it's sad. I like it when good lawyers are against good lawyers, and that makes for stunning.
Sure. I mean, if we got to go through it, at least entertain us. I mean, but
or be good at your
it's
job.
gonna be fun anyway. It's gonna be fun anyway to watch him fucking crash and burn, because it's gonna be, you know what I mean? Like here's an analogy for you to piggyback back off of your analogy: a good football team versus a bad football team. But think about the dream team of the 92 Olympics, the dream team. Who,
right?
It was fun to watch them just destroy every other country in the Olympics basketball. Right. I mean, it was like Jordan, Pippen, Barkley, Ewing. I mean, it was insane.
Right.
Well,
my dad had used that. My dad used to come watch me try cases, and he would always say at the end, well, once again, it's like, and he would name one of our junior highs here, and against he loved the Dallas Cowboys, against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it's gonna be
that was his way
it's
of
gonna be Jackson Yannetti and this other guy, the new guy. I keep forgetting his name. Alessi. Yeah, I keep forgetting his name. One of these days it'll be etched into my memory. But he.
So I also think by dint of her of her agreeing that they should have a second Daubert hearing, that's another point that they could put in a second motion to recuse, because she's shown by her rulings in this trial that
that's where I get hung up, because I think that she can use the fact that Brennan is new to the case as justifying her ruling of allowing this hearing to take place.
But that's BS, because let's say so she said we're going to have the hearing, and that's tomorrow morning, I think, and so that's happening.
Right.
My point is, because of her ruling that it is happening, forcing the defense to qualify their expert, who's eminently qualified, I think that that's another point in the second motion to recuse that we're already seeing bias towards the Commonwealth.
Sure. Again, I mean, we have been, but see, I love you, Piney Woods, because your heart's in the right place, but it's like as if you are not seeing Bev throughout this entire process, and you're still giving her the benefit of the doubt. And I love that. Don't get me wrong. I love that you're giving her the benefit of the doubt as constantly, and you're going, wait a second, this is not right. But look at all of the other shit that she's done that has not been right. And she hasn't recused herself. She's not going to recuse herself. You know,
a motion should be made for the appellate record.
They probably will. Yeah. I would assume that they would.
I mean, I would. I always try to case thinking about appeal. And just to make the record clear, I would file another motion to recuse.
See, that makes sense.
And also give points from the last trial that she's consistently sustained objections without grounds either way. Like Lally didn't object with grounds, and she didn't sustain with. She just sustained every objection he made almost. I mean, I think I've seen a couple that she said overruled. But in order to make the appellate record clear, she's supposed to say why she sustained that objection.
Okay.
So now when defense appeals,
so you're saying she hasn't, right? You're saying that she hasn't, she never gave a justification in her denial of the motion.
Right.
Therefore, if they were to, just for the sake of having it on record for the possibility of appellate court later on, to file a motion that she recuse herself from the case, so it's on record.
Yeah, so that's on record. And what they're going to have to use, since she never gave grounds, is just the sheer percentage of her sustaining objections.
Okay.
I mean, they're going to have, because they don't have grounds, they can't argue it on law, they can argue it on bias. Look at this, and look at how many she sustained of ours, and da-da-da-da-da, and make sort of a generalized argument. I think Bev is terrible. I keep hoping she'll do the right thing, but it doesn't happen.
I feel you, Piney Woods. I feel you on that, because I always I am always giving someone the benefit of the doubt. I'm always hoping Bev, I'm like, come on, Bev, do the right thing here. I always do the same thing. So I love you for that.
Give that to Brennan too. I mean, I thought Brennan coming in, if he was really,
I'm past that. Yeah, I'm past that. I'm not giving.
Well, I'm past it too, but I thought.
Yeah, I'm not giving Brennan the benefit of the doubt.
Right, but any good prosecutor would come in and go, I do not have it. I don't even have, more likely than not. I certainly don't have beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, I mean, and Scott McGinnis is right. Trust me, I'm criticizing myself, Scott McGinnis, when I say that I every time there's something, whenever there's a motion and I want her to rule the right way, I'm always rooting that she does the right thing. I mean, the bottom line is we don't have a choice. We have to hope that she does the right thing every time that there's something comes up where she's presented with an opportunity to. We always have to do that because we don't have a choice. There's nobody else to do it. We have to rely on Bev to do the right thing. So there's no other way but to hope that she does.
But isn't that sad? I walking into a courtroom thinking,
yeah, it's sad as fuck.
The judge may favor the other side, but I can make points with facts and law. But in that court, it seems like, well, geez, they just can't.
Right. Let me see what Susie is saying here. She's saying a new prosecutor doesn't undo the expertise of the expert. A new case does not call for a new resume from the already decided expert. It's an unnecessary expense to retest the doctor.
That court in those facts with that expertise has already ruled.
Okay, I mean she's saying that's and Melanie Little agrees with you. I'm saying that, and I agree, it's bullshit. We're all in agreement on that. What I'm saying though is that this is what Bev is going to use to justify her decision, is that Brennan is a new prosecutor on the case.
Well, yes.
To have the hearing, not to rule whether or not she's qualified, Dr. Russell is qualified or not, but to have the hearing to hear the prosecutor's argument. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, and you're probably partly right, but I think mostly because she's just being ornery.
I
On the
agree.
law-
I
on
agree.
the-
What I'm
on the
saying
law,
is
she
the
should not
legal
have-
loophole that she's using is that argument. Is what I'm saying.
And here's the thing, though. What that does is now we'll be able to serve her up as not only a dog bite expert, but a motor vehicle versus pedestrian expert.
Exactly, because she
Because
has
she's got all that
treated
ER.
those injuries. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that'll come in now. That was the discovery penalty we got the first time.
Right.
So that should come in now. Also, if she Dauberts the ARCA people, which is insanity,
Right.
but if that happens, I mean, at some point, ARCA needs to be able to say, we were hired by
By
the
the FBI. Right.
Period. They don't have to explain but at least
It's
let
so
jurors
crazy
know.
that you can't
Yeah.
say that, because
Right.
someone recently made the point that it makes no sense. I wasn't sure if it was a Twitter post or I was listening to somebody on a live. I can't remember who made the point, but it was a very, very valid point. If you're up there and you take an oath to swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, the whole truth, then why is Judge Bev blocking the information from the jury that they were hired by the FBI? If they were,
Well,
if they
I
swore
think
an
it's a
oath to,
constitutional violation.
I agree.
I mean, because Miss Reed is entitled to a fair trial,
That's not fair, is it?
and she is entitled to due process,
Absolutely.
substantive due process, and violations or depriving her of those things is a constitutional violation. And in that regard, that should be in every daggum motion they file. And I know they're going to file motions, or as Melanie Little says, motions in lemonade, but motions in lemonade, the state will file, or the Commonwealth will file motions to keep out federal investigation, blah, blah, blah.
Right, but that's
But the
fucking
argu-
crazy. It's like her justification for that is, well, we don't want to influence the jury because, like if they know that the FBI hired them, then that'll open the door for Michael Morrissey's, and then we don't want the jury to know that. Why can't the jury know that? That should influence the jury. That should
influence
absolutely.
the jury. And
It's-
the fact that
yeah.
that the implication they made was that the insurance company of Miss Reed hired those folks.
Yeah, no.
That
Or
influenced
Turtle
the
Boy
jury.
hired them. That was the
Yeah,
other one.
that
Turtle Boy
influenced-
hired them.
and- Yeah, right. But that influenced the jury in the very wrong way, and that's going to do it again. And she knows it's going to do it again. So this should come in constitutionally. It also should come in because of Brady, and
Yeah.
it also should come in because of the rule of optional completeness. They have their testimony at the state grand jury or the Commonwealth grand jury, but a prior inconsistent statement or a recent inconsistent statement, one made after to the state and before to the feds or whatever, before trial. Well, under the rule of optional completeness and under the rules of impeachment, we get to use every other statement, and we get to say what the basis of that statement was,
Okay.
because you're proving up the reliability of the statement made in front of the federal jury.
Huh.
So in order to do that, you have to say you were under oath. It's a felony if you lie to the FBI or to the Department of Justice. All those things need to come in
Agreed.
so
Mar-
that we can say this statement was as or more credible than the first statement you made and the statement you're making now. And were you lying then or are you lying now?
Exactly. All right, Piney Woods, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you. I really appreciate your call. I love when you call in. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I had cataract surgery this morning. So I'm a
Oh
little
my
loopy.
goodness. Wow. Okay. Well, look at you. All right. All right.
Gotta
Thank you,
get my
Piney
eyes
Woods.
back. Thank you, darling. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Closing the phone lines, folks. That is it. That is it. Guys, that's it for me. I'm wrapping this up. I had an excellent time. This was a very, very fun live. I'm glad that I got to hang out with you guys today. I hope that I made 3 hours of your day go by nice and quick, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to hit the like if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Thank you to all you new subscribers. If you're new to the channel, I hope you really enjoy it. And to all of all of the support. You guys are absolutely incredibly generous and amazing. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with me and spending the day with me. I really appreciate it. Guys, that's it for me. I'm going to wrap this up. I love you guys very much, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.